Hello, everybody. We're live now for the next 20-30 minutes. I'm here with Val Wood-Gaiger, and I kept getting a name wrong yesterday, so now I'm getting it right. And welcome to Random Dialogues, Val.
Hi. Well, Jane, your name is a lot easier than mine, so I don't blame you. It's a very unusual name, so when you've got it, you can't forget it. But getting it in the first place is quite difficult. A funny thing has just, well, not funny, but a lovely thing has just happened in Uganda. A young man there who started a sewing workshop meant to make sanitary towels. They are now about to put the roof on a new building. And I've been asking people to plant trees for my birthday. That was my birthday appeal, not asking for money for me or any project, but just to plant trees. And he said, yes, I'm going to plant a tree, but I'm also going to call the new building after you. And I thought, they'll have trouble with my surname just as I have trouble with theirs. So it's going to be called Jaja Val's Place.
Oh.
Jaja is the word for respected older person. It's not masculine or feminine in that particular part of Uganda. And he loved it.
Oh,
I think Jaja Val's Place sounds rather
That's
sweet,
gorgeous,
doesn't
isn't it? Yeah, it's lovely.
And then they'll have a photograph of me as well.
Perfect. Now, I've put in the chat, so when people are watching this afterwards or now, if you're joining us, this is going on to Facebook and to YouTube. In the chat, I've put a little blogette that I've made this morning with more about Val and some other videos she's done and some other thing, and just, you know, so there's like a little collection that we're going to put together, and this video as well will go in there. Gosh. So if you want to know a little bit more about Val, who she is, where she is, what, you know, her causes, her missions, then there's a wonderful, beautiful collection there of all her wonderful things she's doing. They've also made this little banner which I'm going to put up, which is going to swamp the screen now, but then you can just see as well. Here she is. Where did you get the little cartoon on the left from then, Val?
Oh, that was a friend down the road. She did that quite a long time ago when I was writing educational books.
Wow. Okay. And we've got on here at the bottom, founder of Learn with Grandma, climate ambassador, promoting intergenerational learning and active aging.
Yep.
And can't read it. It's because it's too small for me to read on. I have to read it from either screen. Reuniting generations and breaking down digital age gaps.
Yes.
So there we go.
Well, the thing is, you see, I didn't grow up with the internet. We didn't have the internet. And the young people, they've known it all their lives. So there's a tendency for them to think we're a bit toomp, as they say in Wales, because we don't understand what they have known all their life. My son in the late 70s said, Mum, you're going to have email. And I said, why? I don't need email. I can write a letter. And he said, Mum, it's free and it gets there like that. I thought, tidy.
Tidy darts.
Tidy. If you can get a letter there quickly. When my brother went to live in what was Rhodesia, a letter took 6 to 7 weeks to arrive. So it's very difficult to have a dialogue. But now, not only have we got email, which gets there like that, we've also got this.
Yeah.
So I now chat to Moses in Uganda.
Now, how did you meet Moses? Do you remember?
Well, going back to the days when I used to write educational books, I got an award for innovation in education. It doesn't sound very innovative today, but we had dual language e-books printed on paper with a CD, which put the price up enormously. And so they didn't sell very well. But I got an award for innovation. And then I was invited to speak at e-learning conference in Berlin. And I'd never been to Berlin, so I thought I'd go for the crack. Some observers came to hear my speech in a back room on the last day of the conference. In other words, they weren't giving me prime spot. They were to see what I was like first.
Yeah.
And the young man before me, he gave a lot of statistics. And I thought, I don't think what I've got to say is going to work. But I just did my thing. told them what I was doing, how I was doing it, and why. And then the other young man, who was from Italy, I think, he stood up and said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. He has given you statistics. She has given you heart. They've taken my program.
Oh.
Which was rather sweet. But I think statistics you can always read. But giving inspiration for people to want to do things, that is something else. From that, I went to speak in e-learning Africa when it was in Tanzania.
I've been to Tanzania.
It's lovely, isn't it? I really enjoyed it. I went about by myself and on the local buses and tuk-tuks and motorbikes. When I put a photograph of me on a what do they call it? Boda boda.
Yes.
I'm just scared. I was scared. Anyway, I've been on motorbikes before you were born. Anyway, in Tanzania, Moses was also a speaker. And when we met at the speaker's reception, here's a young man I knew nothing about. I'd heard his presentation and thought it was good, but I didn't know what to say to him. And I've got a stock phrase which I use when I don't know what to say. I say to people, what is your dream? And he said, I want to teach teachers all over Uganda how to use the internet. And I said, I'll show you a way. Which, of course, he interpreted as I could afford to take him out of the school, buy him a car, give him a house.
Yes.
Like, I'm an old age pensioner. There's no way I could do all of that. So I suggested that he held a workshop in his school. Fortunately, his head teacher said yes. And he said, but will they come? I said, invite loads. Invite a lot more people than you can cope with. 200 wanted to come, and he only had room for 100. So they had to run 2 workshops.
Yes.
As it happened, and I'm not showing off here, I'd been speaking in a committee in the House of Lords and met a Ugandan minister, whose name I've forgotten. I had no other reason for getting in touch with her, but I sent her an email to tell her what he was doing. She told Education. Education sent some observers. They took him out of the school, gave him a contract to teach teachers all over Uganda how to use the internet.
Fabulous.
He's doing amazing stuff in Uganda. Amazing stuff.
And do you have any pictures of him or anything that he's doing? We can
Oh,
put
yes.
into our little blogette afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look on Learn with Grandma Uganda, you can see a lot of what he's doing.
Lovely.
One of the things he's done on his own initiative is he's raised enough finance to start a Grandma Microfinance Uganda.
Wonderful.
And that is up and running, and loans are being made, and loans are being repaid.
Good.
Already.
Yes, because it's about teaching people and empowering people, isn't it, to sort out so that you're not kind of giving loads of money and then going and then they can't sustain what they're doing. It's about actually, here's the money, make it work, and then you leverage that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, microfinance is a proven thing that works, and as time goes on, I would like to extend this idea to other countries, obviously, but it's up and running in Uganda. And that will be the pilot. There are many things like that, actually. Another thing that Moses started in Uganda was ICT clubs in schools. Mm-hmm. He was in charge of he got a job with an American charity called Opportunity, and he was in charge of the IT in getting on for 1,000 schools. And in 40 of those schools, this is before lockdown, he started ICT clubs. Now, one of the things we want to do is to encourage older people to go in and learn from the youngsters.
Right. Because
there's 2 things happening there. First of all, when you teach, you have to strengthen your own learning. All teachers have to go on learning. And these students, they know stuff, but Teaching it is another thing entirely. It will encourage them. It will also, of course, increase the opportunities for older people because, well, we're in a very difficult world nowadays in many ways. Financially, the COVID pandemic has cost this world an awful lot of money, and there isn't going to be as many grants available as used to be available, and they're going to be more difficult to get. So one of the things that I do is I can't afford to give people money. I suggest ideas that are affordable, achievable, and sustainable. When I first retired after while I was doing the educational books, I started to be invited into European projects, and I loved them. I thought they were brilliant. I absolutely adored going off on these jaunts. I loved the projects. All came to an end when the funding came to an end. They were never designed to be financially self-sufficient.
No.
And I'm too long in the tooth to be bothered with that kind of thing. I don't want things that come to an end. I want things that are going to be sustainable. And so I share ideas, and I love it to bits. I am absolutely in bits when I hear of somebody like Simon in Uganda who saw the film clip that I sent, started the project on his own initiative without telling me, without doing anything. I found out by chance what he's doing. And as he said, your inspiration wasn't even my inspiration. All I did was share a YouTube film that somebody else had made, as it happened, a Ugandan. And it has gone around the world, not just in Uganda, but in many countries. There are sewing workshops. And I just love that. It gives me a buzz when I know that somebody somewhere has picked it up and run with it.
Yes. And I think I've met you somewhere along the line through Michael, who sadly passed away. And then I know we're in the same group with Professor Rama Dasaratha, and I connected with Rama through another group called Thought Space, where she was publishing a lot. And when I met both of them, we were all about publishing forward, playing it forward, and then that's how we connected, because actually we just went out there, we shared our passions, we shared our missions, and she always said, or it was Michael always said, just always expect one person at least to comment or to like something, or just to kind of engage with you, even if you're just putting it out there and you just feel like sometimes you're putting it out into the void, because like you said, that one person can be inspired by something that you're doing and make a difference. And it's that ripple effect, it's that butterfly effect. Someone does something special and it just has a knock-on effect somewhere else. And
it's also about listening. With Moses, I asked him, what is your dream? He told me, and then I was able to show him how to start.
Yes.
You see, if you don't listen, and one of the things he said to me only the other day, because I said, really, you've done it all. I haven't done anything. He said, yes, what you did was you started me off believing that it was possible.
Yes.
If we can show people that there's always a way. There's always a way, whatever difficulty you're in. And I haven't led a charmed life, believe me. I was a single parent with 3 children, and I had a week, you will not believe, when I was told my marriage was over, my mother's cancer was terminal, and that my sons had retinitis pigmentosa. And I cried and cried and cried until my son said to me, Mum, stop crying. You've got to get back to work. We need you to go to work. We have to find a way. I remember years ago when I was got my first job. It was in a wool department, a wool warehouse. And when the new dye lots came in, the manager was showing me, the storeman was showing me how you had to move all the packets along to keep the dye lots together. And I looked at it and I thought, well, that's blooming stupid. So I took the last 4 packets and put them in the hole at the beginning. See?
Mm-hmm.
Making life easy. There's no reason why you have to make life difficult for yourself. Find the easy way to do it. And very often, the easy way is to just start.
Yes.
To just start. Because, well, if you wait for everything to be perfect, nothing's going to happen. Start with what you've got. Start with where you are. Start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of had a nickname, Just Do It Jane, so I just do things as well. I'm a bit like, that's probably how we've met. I just sort of like, oh, let's do this today, let's just give it a go, and we don't have a planning meeting, have we? We just kind of connected and I think let's just chat. And actually, if people tune in and watch and catch snippets, hopefully they'll catch snippets of inspiration from you and then go, oh, I'd like to read the blog, or I'd like to find out more about what you're doing. And I spoke to my husband about you, and here in Guildford in the UK, we have a wildlife garden. And before, we've had one in the previous garden. I did a sort of garden design course. Yeah, I just went and did it. I'm not a designer. I just like planting. I've got an allotment, and we've got lots of trees we've planted in the last 3 years here, that's for sure. For the wildlife, we always think with wildlife in mind, native planting. So when I said, oh, we need to plant a tree for Val, he said, well, we've got loads of trees we've planted. So I thought, actually, yeah, we can actually take a picture of some of the trees we've already planted and share them with somewhere for you, and hopefully inspire other people to plant a tree.
Oh, not a somewhere. Moses is also working on an ebook.
Fine.
So send me the photographs with your climate comment. And what I'm going to do with that is, as you know, I've now become an ambassador for climate.
Yes.
I can never say it. Climate Cymru. Cymru is the Welsh word for Wales. That's
yes.
But I'm not Welsh speaking. I'm a migrant. Anyway, I had got this thing for my birthday of asking people to plant trees, and thank you. You are going to plant a tree.
Here we are. I'm going to put the banner up. Here we go. Look, a little banner of May here. 4th of July was Val's birthday, and here we are. Here she is, encouraging everyone to plant a tree for Granny.
Well, I think that we've moved on from that a little bit because of having become. It was just going to be an appeal for my birthday, but then the Queen got in on the act.
Did she?
Yes, she didn't ask me. She just said, "Let's have a canopy of trees around the world," which I think is a beautiful idea. Oh. So you can plant 2 trees. Well, actually, you can plant 1 tree and get 2 grannies at the same time, or you can plant 2 trees, which is the preferred option. And we can't kid ourselves any longer that climate change is not happening. At the last climate change conference a few years ago, governments around the world made a commitment. They made a commitment which they have not honoured. We've had the excuse of COVID, of course, but in a way, climate change is actually more dangerous than COVID, because COVID kills a few people. If we allow our air to degenerate further and further, if we allow the planet to get warmer and warmer, if we allow the ice floes to melt and the sea levels to rise, how many cities are there who will be overrun with water? How many places will people have to evacuate from, because the land will be getting smaller and they will have to go inland? But if the land gets smaller, we will have less land to build houses. We'll have less land to grow food. Climate change is also causing a very insidious problem that people haven't really cottoned on to, and that is insects. Insects are pollinators. Yes, everyone knows bees and loves bees. I love bees. I had a bee Sunday and all the rest of it. Bees are beautiful. They are very good pollinators. They can't do it on their own, There was a chap on the radio, Jamie Vine's show, the other day, saying that as a lorry driver, he used to get out and clean his windows all the time.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I know that the insects aren't on it. I've done a video about that myself in the past. Where are all the insects?
Absolutely.
Where are they all on our windows? Yeah.
When I was a little girl, we used to go to my grandmother's on Sundays and walk through the wildflower meadows. We've lost 97% of wildflower meadows.
Oh, wow.
Why 97%? That is food for all these pollinators. On top of which, we're spraying, we're killing them on purpose because we don't want them in our gardens and on our farms. But without them, we will starve. So, if we allow this climate change to get worse and worse, and the temperature rise more and more, all these wildfires, these fires that are happening, and these floods that are happening, it costs more to put the damage right than it does to take the necessary steps to stop it getting that bad. It doesn't cost an awful lot to plant a few trees. You've done it. I've done it. We can do it. We can all of us do the little thing. But what I'm going to do with that ebook is every speaker, I'd like to do every delegate, but I can't get hold of those so easily. But every speaker at the conference in November in Glasgow will receive a copy of that ebook. The ebook will be ongoing because that's the beauty of an ebook.
Yes.
You can go on adding and adding and adding.
It's a live document, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. And so we can send that to governments around the world and we can show them that people want this. And if people want it and refuse to vote for those that will not take action, then we will have action. There was a song years ago, I don't suppose you remember it. I'd like to vote for you, son, but you're too young to. I'd like to support you, son, but you're too young to vote.
Ah, no, I don't know that.
Yeah, well, there is a song. That's not the exact title, but I'll find it on YouTube and send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And you know, we are the people who vote our governments in. I'm not going to say who I voted for, but I will say I'm not a Tory. So don't blame me. It's not about party politics. In fact, I believe party politics is a bad way to move. I think we should actually have more independent MPs and more freedom for them to vote as they want to vote, rather than being ordered by their whips to toe the party line or else. Look what happened when our Prime Minister went in. The first thing he did was get rid of an awful lot of people who didn't agree with him.
Yeah.
You know, but we are the people. We have a right to say what we think. And I tell you one thing, I may be 80, nobody is going to shut me up.
No.
I've got the internet.
Yes.
We can say what we want.
Now,
but be kind. You don't have to be unkind.
One of the portfolios that I do is I speak about resilient kids, and resilient kids is all about vision, vitality, and voice. And I often think, you know, here's the child that I'm working with or I'm speaking about, have they got vision? Have they got vitality, and have we given them a voice? And today, I believe, you know, as we've been speaking, that hopefully, you know, I know you've got older grandchildren now and children, and, you know, hopefully people will be tuning in and watching, and maybe in some way this might inspire a child, or if the stuff we've been sharing, there might be a child or something we share after this or someone else shares that inspires the future generation.
What I do actually want to talk about that. It's going off the subject of climate change for the moment. Years ago, I produced a leaflet like this. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
What to do if grandma? Yeah.
What to do if grandma, grandpa fall down? I read a statistic that 63% of grandparents in the UK care for their grandchildren on a regular basis. young mums at home on their own with little children. Both the children and the adults are vulnerable. I suppose you may remember last year a little boy of 4 phoned 999. He had to take his mother had collapsed. She was unconscious. He thought she was dead. He was only 4 years of age, but he had the gumption to take her finger and put it on her phone. He'd watched her do it.
Oh, yeah.
He then had seen on the television how to dial 999. And the person who took the call said, I think Mummy's dead. And she said, is she really? He said, I don't know. I'm 4. And then she said, is there anybody else there? And he said, yes, my brother. He's 2. You can imagine the bells were ringing, and they were the people were there and they saved the mother's life, and so on. And he became a local hero. It was in the national press. But all parents, grandparents at home with little ones are vulnerable. That young mother's life was saved by her little boy because he had the gumption to know what to do. But we can teach them all what to do. Even a little child of 2, they can pick up a phone and they can use it. I've seen my great-grandchildren do it. In fact, he's older now, but when my grandson, who is 12, great-grandson, who is 12, was 4, he ordered 150 euros worth of toys off the internet, and his dad didn't know that he knew how to use the phone.
I'll just put a quick picture up here. I know there's not everybody here, but I'll just show this picture here of your of a collection of children.
Yes, that's the great-grandchildren. It's Magnus, the one on the end, who did it when he was only 4. There are 2 more now, twins. Well, rather, the twins are there, but there's one more called George. I've got 7 great-grandchildren now. And the little dog that was there, Lily, has gone too. So life moves on.
It does. So I've just realised I wanted this, so we were just saying, just do things sometimes, and I didn't put it on the background. I wanted the background on this. So now we're in a different format. If you tune in and go, what's she doing now? Because I've realised I haven't clicked the right button on this live stream. Never mind.
Probably me talking too much.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to share, Valerie, while we're here?
I'd love to work with you to produce this in a credit card size, so that we can then disseminate it around the world, and people can put their own information on it and have it by the phone and teach the children how to get help if they need it. Wonderful. I mean, obviously you don't need to teach the grown-ups, but you do need to teach the children. And it's happened before more than once, because I did this in 2011, because I heard a similar story in 2011. So I want to work with you on that. I've talked about climate change and planting trees. So anybody who wants to have their say in this ebook, I just want a photograph and a little comment on what you think about global warming, what you want to do.
And where should we send that to? How can we find you to kind of send information?
Well, I'm the only Valerie Wood-Gaiger in the world, so I'm dead easy to find on Facebook. And also the Learn with Grandma groups are all over the world now. But I've even had offers of trees from Peru and Brazil, where I don't know anybody there. The only person I know from Peru is Paddington. Okay. So, the Learn with Grandma groups are there on Facebook. And of course, I've got email. But really, it's easier to put it straight on the group, and then Moses can take it straight off the group to put into the ebook.
Wonderful. So we'll do that. Okay.
Technology is great, isn't it?
It's amazing, isn't it? And it's so lovely to, even today, just be able to put something on quite quickly. And I've learned some tech skills over the years. I'm not a designer, but I just enjoy using, I do train in Canva as well. And that's one of the things I do somewhat separately. And it's just nice to be able to, it's that frustration if I want to do something sometimes. So I just learn as I've gone to be able to do things like this and enjoy this conversation with this random dialogue with you today, Val. So thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sure we'll have another conversation in the future. And hopefully you'll come along maybe later on this year to one of my other speaking events where we have 6 speakers, usually sharing a story or something they feel passionate about with, whoever wants to tune in, and it's for 6 minutes each. So yeah, I'd love to invite you along to that, and then you can meet some more people and share your story and keep sharing and connecting and inspiring people with what you're doing.
Actually, if I've got a minute, I've got another program about creating ebooks.
Yes.
Because now when I first started talking about this few years ago, the cost was too high. But now, via Moses again, we can now get ebooks up and online at zero cost.
Absolutely. It's fascinating, isn't it? And it's just like you say, you can keep adding to it. It's like that blog today that I've shared for you. I think, well, let's just put that out. It's not perfect, probably some typos in it, but actually it just means that we can add to it now, and it just gives people a flavour, and then, we can keep adding bits when we want to. So
absolutely,
it's freeing, isn't it? It's like, liberating to actually think, well, I don't mind, who reads, who doesn't read it. It's just I want to do it. I feel passionate about doing that and sharing your story, and helping you to connect with other people who want to plant trees and obviously make a difference. So thank you for joining me.
I've done one more thing, and that is to show you that older people can still have a brain and we can still use it. In fact, the more you use it as you get older, the more likely you are to keep it.
Absolutely. Definitely. Thank
you.
So,
if that's all, I'll say goodbye, everybody. Lovely to meet you like this, and I look forward to seeing it. And when I do, I expect I'll think, oh dear, that she did that wrong. She did that wrong. I never think I'm never satisfied. I always want to do better.
But that's a good thing as well, isn't it? I think that we still do things, and then always want to have that personal development, that self-improvement, and that's okay, but also to be kind of accepting and allowing of what it is, as it is what it is, isn't it? It is as it's come out. And
one thing for sure, I'm never going to be perfect, but I'll always do the best I can.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I love the broadcast, but it will be go back into the studio.